Hello, my name is Nick, and today I'm going to be working on a training video with my dogs, teaching them how to leave small animals alone. One of them is a fully trained service dog, and the other one is being in training for a service dog. And while they need special and strict training, this is also a useful thing to learn when you have canines and small pets. This is Oreo. She is going to be our rat today. She was born and raised around the dogs, so she's a little bit more comfortable with their existence. She's not likely to be freaked out by them. So I'll start with Gypsy just to show you what I'm looking for. Gypsy, come here. Sit. Now, leave it. Notice I say leave it, and while she's looking, she's not paying attention to the rat. She's not approaching the rat. In fact, now she's looking away. Good girl, good, leave it. And that's what I want. I don't want any interest. I want to work to where there's no interest in the rat at all. Now, because the other one's not really trained, I'm going to actually put Oreo in a small cage here so that she's safe. We have cats and stuff running around, but that's why I'm supervising and keeping an eye on things. There you go. Now, every dog has different treats. For Amaric, his high value treat is actually bits of marshmallow. It's also useful for pills if you have to give them, because they're sticking on the inside so the pill sticks, but it masks the taste and smell pretty well. Amaric, come here. Good boy. Now, I want him to notice the rat. Leave it. And the moment when I say leave it, when he pays attention to me and not the rat, he gets rewarded immediately. So I'm actually going to draw his attention towards her. Hey, what's this? Leave it. And then back to me. And reinforce him paying attention just to me and not the rat. And this is a trick we've worked with before. Like, I can leave it. Put food on his foot, and he'll ignore it till I tell him he can have it. Okay, take it. So he's actually knows his leave it pretty well. Leave it. So the next stage to progress to this, and when you get to this point where you can draw his attention away or he's not actually approaching, what I will do is I'll still keep the cage as a safe space, but I'll let the door open so that she can move more and come close, and the rat can come closer, but I don't want him to move. See, once again, he's not paying attention to her, and that's the point of getting a really high value treat like this. You don't want to go that way, honey. Come on, move. Good boy. And once again, there's no attention being paid. But it's still the same command. The command is always leave it, and you use this command for anything you don't want the dog to have, whether it be a person or a thing. Now, leave it. The harder one is when I have the rat out, because you see he's now more interested in the rat than he is the food. But every time he's glancing at the food, even without a command, he's getting a piece. Nah, that's not for you. You can't have that. So what I'm looking for is I should be able to do that without him looking. And the moment he looks at her, I'm pulling her away again. What this does is if something happens, the rat gets out and the rat ends up in his face or something, I want him to not react, which doesn't make it safe for them to have direct interaction at all. But it makes it safer in case there's an accident with a loose rat and a rat is loose. Leave it. Leave it. She likes to try and explore, so she's a little bit harder to corral herself. Now, the way I'm doing this is I actually have two other people in the room, and one overly curious kitten, but 2 other people in the room, so if something happens, there's backup. And of course, I'm keeping myself in constant contact with the rat or the rat's in the cage, so I can quickly interfere. I don't want to ever be in a position training, especially with training, where I can't block. Leave it. Hey, leave it. Good boy, good, leave it. He's a little bit further along with his training, but you can do this with any dog, and you want to progress in stages. So I want to start with the cage, and once the dog's ignoring the rats in the cage, then I'll progress normally to a carrier or something of that effect, but she doesn't like the carrier. And I don't want to stress her out, but she's also the only rat I have that's actually comfortable with the dogs being near her. And after the carrier, once he's ignoring her in the carrier, it's out and in the hand. Never am I actually going to deliberately put the rat on top of the dog. That is asking for an accident to happen. Whether the rat bites the dog or the dog bites the rat. Good boy. So he's getting a big reward for that because she's crawling all over me and he's paying attention to me and what I'm saying. Leave it. And not her. Now, what I'm doing when I'm leaving is putting my hand in my face to block his sight. Sit. Amor, sit. So I'm blocking his... No paw. I'm blocking his sight. Not completely, but enough that he knows he's not supposed to be doing what he's doing. Good boy. Now, some of the other rewards I have are little, they're actually dog treats, but they're basically just crunchy cheese crackers. And the other one that I'm using is actually his own food, his kibble. All of which are good treats. Kibble's great if you don't want them putting on extra weight because you just use some of their food for the day. So if you're worried about weight being an issue, that's definitely the better route to go. But anything that's high value to dogs, and different dogs have different things you kind of have to test, but every dog has a thing that they will do absolutely anything for. It's not always food, sometimes it's a toy. Gypsy will do almost anything for a tennis ball. Or attention. Since he's highly food motivated, food. But for him, he likes the sweets. He's like me. He likes the sugary snacks. Good boy. But the longer he ignores the rat, the more rewards he gets. So again, I'm going to try this. Amor, leave it. Leave it. Yes, I know, squeeze. Leave it. Good boy, good, leave it. Have a bite. Take a bite. Bite. Pull. Pull, 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 pull. Good boy. That's the other reason why I'm using Oreo. She's a little bit of a talker. She, likes to make her little squeaking noises. Okay. But but the main thing is use a rat that's comfortable with the presence of the dogs being in the same room as them. Because there are other rats because I have plenty of other rats, but a lot of them are a lot more wary of the giant predator in the room. Now, I do have several more babies that were raised around the dogs, so they're not as wary, but Oreo doesn't care. If I let her, she would sit on the dogs, but that's not a thing I let her do, of course. You still can't have the marshmallow. And she, of course, also wants to try and taste the marshmallow. So the kitten's finally out of the cage. So I'm going to put her back because now he's kind of seen the rat's existence. But you notice, once again, she's loose and he's paying attention to what I have in my hand, which is what I want. Now, eventually, you want to start weaning off the treat every time. So I no longer have it in my hand, but he's still paying attention to me and not the rat, which is actually excellent. Leave it. It's actually excellent for him because leave it. Hey, leave it. That's the progress I want, to where he doesn't need food to leave something alone. Leave it. See what I mean? She'll go immediately to try and interact with the dog. So that's another thing, like you need to be on the ball with, is to also make sure that the rat's not doing anything dangerous either. That's it for now. And if there's anything you want, any other videos you want to see, any other training you want to see, please drop in a comment, and I will see what I can do about it. Thank you very much.